appreciate that. Oh yeah, you see, yeah, you can see, yeah. You can't even see over there, yeah. That's pretty awesome. That's good. Yeah. That's pretty good. I missed that. I missed that. Yes, greetings and the best of salutations. That would be prayer, power, peace, patience, and prosperity. Anything else you need me to say, I'll say it, I'll do it. Continue to talk, continue to express myself, because everybody has need of self-expression. The clothes that we wear, the cars that we drive, the people who we interact with. Yes. Yes, test 1 2, test 1 2. The test is designed to see how you process information.
Blessings, family.
Yes, sir.
All right. You know, Rye is out today, and as usual, I don't know what they call it, Newton's law or something like that. what do they call it? What's the law when things go wrong, they can go wrong? Murphy's law. Okay, one of them. You know, I don't know. Honestly, I'll give you the real thing. I don't know white people laws too much that well. They all, you know. Well, I do know some that I had to learn, but I don't give those to them as well. Let me see. Let's see. I see something on my screen here that I'm not liking. And I know how to fix that. So we're gonna get started. Welcome to Temple New African Thought, where it is blazing out here. You know, this is preparation if you're going to go to the AFRAM today and be out there in the lot with the sun. I think Mama Patty LaBelle is in the. I think that's what I heard. Mama Patty LaBelle is going to be at AFRAM today. So if you want to go down there and this is just preparation for the heat in the building. When the AC typically, I'm not even playing. What is it, Murphy's Law? It happens like every year, or when I have an event and it's the most people in the building, and that's the day the AC wants to do something real funny. you know, and then you need Freon or something like that. And you realize the body does really have heat. They do bring in heat and all that type of thing. But again, thanks for those joining in online. Are we live? I think we're live. Go ahead and chime in and join in, and give us some thumbs up, give us some likes, give us some shares. I want to give a shout out to all of you out there and all of you in here. So what we want to do is go ahead and expedite this as fast as possible. That chord does something beautiful, brother Tyron. I know you've been fighting me, but that brother right there. Oh, I'm not even seeing him up there, but that chord definitely does something for the picture. Yeah, brother Tyron is the tech. He be doing technology stuff, and I'm a technician myself. So we be debating over things. I don't know if we debate over this one, but brother Tyron, do you see that picture? Okay, yeah. A hardwire cord can do something beautiful for us. Now, hopefully, it looks like that on the other side. Is it okay? It makes my set look good, right? My set, it's hot, and I still wore long sleeves. Well, I'm used to doing it because I used to wear suits. All the time, and a tie. I've done marches out in the street. We thought we was Nation of Islam type of African Senate folk or something, And you ask them if they got air conditioners under their suits. But what I'll do is turn it over to Baba Rose, and let him lead us in right after a little bit of my levity. Turn it over and let somebody come with some serious foundational ritual that is necessary to settle the space.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Habarigani, Ujambo, Amani na Mapenzi, which means peace and love. It's libation time. First of all, libation is a ritual, and the purpose of ritual is to create harmony between the human world of the Creator, ancestors, and nature. As our ancestor Maya Angelou has said, the greatest gifts are the blessings of the past. So let us thank those who came before us. Now, when you hear me say Ashe, which is a Yoruba word meaning it is done or so be it, you respond with Ashe.
Ashe.
Simply call and response. We now pour to Kwame Ture, formerly known as Stokely Carmichael, who was a Pan-African revolutionary. Ture was born in Trinidad, but grew up in the United States while attending Howard University. He eventually developed the Black Power movement, first while leading the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, known as SNCC. Later, serving as the honorary prime minister of the Black Panther Party, and lastly, as a leader of the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. Ture was considered a Black Messiah by COINTELPRO, the FBI counterintelligence program, and targeted. Ture is noted for saying, the job of a revolutionary is, of course, to overthrow unjust systems and replace them with just systems, because a revolutionary understands this can only be done by the masses of the people. So the task of the revolutionary is to organize the masses of the people. Given the condition of the Africans around the world who are disorganized, consequently, all my efforts are going to organizing the people. All my efforts are going to organizing the people. So we ask this ancestor, this freedom fighter, to be with us, to bless us, and renew us for struggles ahead. Ashe. We now pour to the writer and poet, Margaret Walker, known for her work For My People. Very popular poet with Dr. John Henry Clark. He was always quoting Margaret Walker for her work, My People, a signature poem that encompasses the strength and struggles of Blacks, not only in Chicago, but throughout America. How does it go? Let a new earth rise. Let another world be born. Let a bloody peace be written in the sky. Let a second generation full of courage issue forth. Let a people loving freedom come to growth. We ask this ancestor to be with us, to bless us, to renew us for our struggles ahead. I say, we now pour to Sylvester Stewart, better known for his stage name Sly Stone. Sly Stone was a musician, songwriter, and record producer who lived to be 82 years old. According to Amir Questlove, director of the documentary Sly Lives, quote, Sly Stone was a great, not just for his groundbreaking work with the family Stone, but for the radical inclusivity and deep human truths he poured into every note. His songs weren't just about fighting injustice, they were about transforming the self to transform the world. In his song Stand, he sings, Stand, there's a midget standing tall, and beside him a giant about to fall. Stand. Stand is a call for listeners to stand up for themselves, their communities, and what they believe in. One of my favorite songs by Sly Stone is Everybody is a Star. What's profound about this song is that human beings really are made of stardust, the same building blocks of life. Carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur are found in stars. So everybody is a star. Everybody is a star. I can feel it when you shine on me. I love you for who you are, not for who you feel you need to be. The changes that Sly Stone sparked while here will echo forever. So we ask this ancestor to be with us, to bless us, to renew us while struggles ahead. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.
Yo. Thank you, Mama and Baba. So at this time, we open up the space to bring in those who are here in both the physical and spirit. As Baba Rose has so eloquently and uniquely as he does brought in those who are with us in spirit. So those here today, if you have something on your heart, on your mind, just something, it could be anything from just something you know, a testimony to a poem, to some words of affirmation, to a challenge, whatever it is that you maybe feel led to do. It could be a song, it could be some words of empowerment. Do we have anyone who wants to?
I'd like to say something.
Oh, we're gonna break the monotony first, and we're gonna see if somebody else wants to go. Then we know you the ace in the hole. Then we're gonna come back to you, Baba. We're gonna challenge some others to say something or do something. Okay.
On my way to TNAT today, I saw a dog chasing a cat who was chasing a rat, and they both was crawling. It's so hot outside.
You said a dog that was chasing a cat that was chasing a rat.
They all were crawling because it's so hot outside.
Wow. Okay. It reminds me of why did the lady swallow the fly? Y'all heard about that one? Dang. Now hold up. Now look. I can't. By looking around, I cannot say it's because of my age. But I can say it's because of my age. But you know, y'all didn't introduce that to y'all children. No. It was how did it go? There was a lady who swallowed the fly. It goes like this. It goes something like, she swallowed the cat. She swallowed the dog to swallow the cat. She swallowed the cat to swallow a bird. She swallowed the bird to swallow the fly. It's something like that. Then she said, but I don't know why she swallowed the fly. Y'all heard that before? Y'all got it now? Something like that? It's coming back. Okay. The ginkgo loba's kicking in. You know what I mean?
All right. I just really wanted to be quiet today, but I guess since all this activity has happened overnight, It puts us in a different place to be more intuitive and discerning and still. Sometimes we are very active because we don't want to deal with what's in front of us. But this is a song that Doug Kahn wrote. I'll try to do justice to it a cappella Lee. Soul in a restful state, peace when the day is ending. I sit and I contemplate and search my life for its very beginnings. Soul in a restful state, peace when the day is ending. I sit and I contemplate and search my life for its very beginnings. Way back, way back, way back, way back. Well, come on in and get in line. Acknowledge the one that's most sublime. You must find a way to get back home. Sit down and work it out. See what it's all about. Search till you find true peace of mind. You better try hard or you'll die hard. And no one will shed a tear, for a child of the Creator is bound by his own fears. You are free from the day that you're born, so find a space of your own, a place where you can survive, a place to realize contemplation.
Bravo, 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 bravo.
Good day, queens and kings. On my journey, I've come to realize that some of the gifts that I used to didn't have or wasn't aware of is starting to come out. So I wrote a poem. Poetry and artistic ability is flaring like never before. The poem I wrote was Pieces of Me. Like the sands of a seashore, pieces of me. Just as the wind blows, pieces of me. Like time never reverses, pieces of me. I find pieces of me over lifetimes. Ancestors' prayers, ancestors' pieces are pieces of me. I understand any piece deposited, any piece sown becomes pieces of us all. What bears witness? A common gesture, a common trait, a common resemblance, and a common thought. Life journey becomes life journal, only to see pieces of me as pieces of us all.
Ashe.
Bravo, 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 bravo.
All right.
Reminds me of Pieces of a Man by Skill Scott Aaron.
All right. So Baba Rose, thank you, sister. What's your name? Sister Robin. Thank you, Mama. Faluke, thank you, Baba Rose. Thank you, Baba Abu Jamal, and Sister K. Thank you for just just sitting there and looking like don't bring no attention to me. And Brother Tyran, you already know. And for family online, if you ever want, you can join us on screen. Just to let you know, we can always put the link in the chat board, and we can bring you on live if you want to say a few things in the future, or even chime in on the conversation today. I'll have to share with Brother Tyran how to put that link in there. is a link thing on there on the side that says share this or something, and you can always put it in that chat. But if you don't see it, I'll be over there soon. All right. So Baba Rose.
Yes, yes. I'd like to share a poem by a lady I just mentioned during the libation, Margaret Walker. This is from her famous book called Jubilee. I think she sued Alex Haley for copying something from Jubilee he put in Roots and won the suit. She had to find, this is about resilience and tenacity about people. She had to find a way to lift them together. The only thing she had was a moan, and she moaned, and she moaned. That moan would become a spiritual. That spiritual would become jazz, which would become blues, and then rhythm and blues, and then rap. That moan would define not only a people, but the nation to which they were sailing. A journey from Africa to the Americas, marked by trauma and resilience. That moan would make those people decide that they should, that they could live. This is about grandmothers next. My grandmothers were strong. My grandmothers were strong. They followed plows and bent to toil. They moved through fields sowing seed. They touched the earth and grain grew. They were full of sturdiness and singing. My grandmothers were strong. My grandmothers were strong. My grandmothers were full of memories, smelling of soap and onions and wet clay, with veins rolling roughly over a quick hands. They have many clean words to say. My grandmothers were strong. Grandma's hands clapped in church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hands played the tambourine so well. Grandma's hands used to issue out a warning. She'd say, Abu, don't you run so fast. You might fall on a piece of glass. Might be snakes there in their grass. Grandma's hands. My grandmothers were strong. My grandmothers were strong. Why am I not as they? That's Margaret Walker, bad sister.
Shay, thank you, Baba Rose. And I see, and while he moved, Reverend Kevin Patrick B is about to go on without the intro, or without me transitioning from Baba Rose. But Brother Kev, what you got for us?
Yeah, Margaret Walker is one of my favorites. Oh, what do you say? What do you say?
Ron Karanga's double.
Oh, my man. I appreciate that. Really, I do. Thank you.
He said he appreciated it.
Yes.
So I'll say yes, because
Yeah.
he don't take everything appreciated. So yeah, he sound like current public.
I want to share something in regards to the brother Dr. Winkler, as he goes about for me doing two things: disarm deception and cut through confusion, right? And I just want to further give life to what he shared, a post about safe spaces, just in case it could be misunderstood. Not saying that it was or is, just in case. I want to deal with the rich layer of inquiry, exploring expediency, popularity, and the contrast between safe spaces and sacred spaces in context of leadership, institutions, government, and trends. I want to try to, or I will unpack and extract the key principles that can be applied while remaining anchored in genuine concern and resisting the lure of performative debates. Yes, when you look at a tree, you just don't look at it. You got to extract the principles from the tree. Defining the core concept: expediency, action taken for convenience or immediate advantage, possibly at the expense of long-term values or deeper truths. Popularity, what appeals to the majority or is widely accepted, often emotionally or culturally, but not necessarily morally or spiritually grounded. Safe spaces, Western construct, areas intended to protect individuals from emotional or ideological harm, built often around comfort, validation, and inclusivity. Critics argue that they can encourage avoidance or suppression or difficult truths. Yes, and that which really is being, it's a dangerous thing when you suppress anyone's potential. Yes, and is it more difficult to confront yourself or live with yourself? Sacred spaces, the spiritual construct, rooted in reverence, reflection, and transformation. Places not just for protection, but of accountability, which we run from. That's cool, some run from it. Moral realignment and transcendence, often ancient, cross-cultural, and rooted in ritual. Let's look at some of the principles that can be extracted. Genuine concern requires depth, not just protection. Safe spaces focus on emotional safety. Sacred spaces require honesty, truth-telling, inner transformation, even when it is uncomfortable. Principle, true leadership must cultivate conditions where people are safe to transform, not just safe from discomfort. Expediency weakens institutional integrity. When leaders choose what is easy or popular over what is right or sacred, institutions lose moral authority. Principle, leaders must be willing to delay gratification for the sake of integrity and generational consequence. We see the generational gap. Well, it's never a ball game for itself. Popularity is not a metric of truth. Popular trends often favor safe narratives over sacred truths because they are easier to market and control. Principle, public appeal must be tempered by spiritual, ethical, and cultural wisdom. The lure of debate is often a distraction from practice. Arguing about whether a safe space is safe or sacred becomes performative if not grounded in lived commitment. Principle, resist the pull of ideological debate when it leads away from relational repair and communal accountability. Sacredness demands reciprocity, not just recognition. In sacred spaces, one is not just protected, but expected to give attention, humility, service, and repentance. The principle, sacred institutions call for mutual responsibility, not consumer-based validation. The Western constructs may be tricked by language. Safe space can be co-opted into a marketing term, neutralizing its radical intent. Sacred space risks being dismissed as mystical or impractical in secular settings. Principle, language must be interrogated. What is labeled safe may be suppressive, and what is called sacred may be revolutionary. The application to leadership in institutions. Leadership must navigate the tension between what is expedient, popular, and what is sacred and transformative. Institutions need to ask whether they are offering genuine transformation or simply emotional comfort. Government should be held accountable not just to provide safety, but to uphold justice, truth, and dignity. Trends are not to be interpreted, not blindly, are to be interpreted. I'm going to repeat, trends are to be interpreted, not blindly followed. Spiritual discernment is needed to distinguish fads from truth. The final reflection. To say we are not about safe spaces, but sacred spaces, is to reclaim the terrain of transformation. Stevie Wonder did a song called Higher Ground, to assert that real healing, growth, and reconciliation are not acts, nor mere accommodations. Safe spaces might shield wounds. Sacred spaces ask us to heal them.
I say,
brother. Bravo, bravo. Brother, what you were saying is, I can say the European saying, I think, therefore I am. It's a lot different from I am because we are. That's more sacred.
Oh, Mike.
Yeah, I like how you put that together because we live in a world oppressive environment. And people say, well, as a person thinketh, so should he. You can think a thing and don't follow through on it. You know, people always say, give me the benefit of doubt. That means you take the benefits and leave me in doubt.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and thank you, Brother Reverend Patrick Kevin the B, who wants to match with me, aka Shorty Green, so we come here green like a team. All right, enough of that. So thank you all for coming out. I was going to start with a meditation, but I'm going to go right in. I wanted to start with the settling, but I wanted to build off that energy. So we're going to pick back up on Sekhmet. Let's see, what did I title the first one? Sekhmet and second order change. I know we don't have our documents from last week. I didn't print any because we probably should create a binder or something. I do a lot of printing, you know. And so Sekhmet and second order change. I'm thinking about so Brother Imwali Kevin said something. He was following up on a post that I put up on social media, talking about sacred spaces versus safe spaces versus sacred spaces, right? And he gonna tell me what it is. Look, I'm the one to put the post message. Thank you, Bob. So it's safe spaces versus sacred spaces. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I put this post up, and I got some feedback. I realized some people kind of agree. I imagine. Some views, yeah. Okay, yeah. Because as I was going through my training as a psychotherapist, it's just certain things from an African-centered perspective I just don't gravitate towards. It's not that I intentionally don't do it. The words just don't feel right to me. It's not that there's nothing that the word doesn't have any utility, but I think that sometimes they don't bring about that second order change, though. So we talk about Sekhmet in second order change. I'm speaking about this need to confront something. So the first time around a few weeks ago, we took a break last week. We spoke about this. We spoke about this second order change, which requires you to shift some things. It requires you. We typically close on Sundays and Mondays. The food spot in here. So second order change. You know, I actually got an email from someone, a text message, someone the next morning, and I kind of agree with them. So be patient with me. I'm coming around. I'm coming around the mountain. Okay, here you come. That perhaps I can speak about second order change in the way that we should try first order change first. And when that no longer works, then you produce this. You do second order change. So let's break it down. So second order change, as we outlined a few weeks ago, just to kind of bring it home. So first order change is surface level change. Behavior without a belief shift. So again, behavior without a belief shift. Comfort driven. Maintains dysfunction. Now, the text I got, I agree with it initially, but I don't agree with it totally. And what it was that you have to try first order change, and when that no longer works, then you go into what we call second order change. No, I think that no, first order change is about maintaining the system, whatever that system is. Now, if the system is working, there's no need to try to change it. But when it's dysfunctional and it's not working, and you're doing what you call first order change, aka sacred spaces, safe spaces, where you don't have to confront the core issue or belief that maintains and keeps a thing going that is not working. So what am I saying? Lots of us, if not most of us, if not all of us, we would like to do things without very little effort or changing the belief that we have that's maintaining the system. Even those of us in these conscious streets, in a conscious community, or whatever we call it, the cultural community, we have a lot of beliefs. Although we know better, we still hold on to those beliefs many times. We know the very system. I'm talking about on a high level. We talking about on a societal level. It doesn't really serve us, but somehow we also we believe somehow that we can somehow operate in this system in a way that maintains the system, and then we're going to have what we call liberation. We literally believe, even though, it's a lot going on, as Mama Faluke spoke about. Trump and, there's some things that start happening last night, war and all that type of thing. And now some of us are going to say things like, well, see, people voted for Trump. And then you're going to want to point the fingers at people who didn't vote for Trump or maybe voted for a third party or whatever it is. We're going to say we should have put we should have voted for these people. We wouldn't have that. The reality is it was going to happen. It was going to happen. I don't care. It's not things just don't pop up and show up because a few of us didn't have our mind right. We have to understand the system creates the mind that voted in Trump. There's nothing you could have done about that. I'm sorry. You couldn't vote yourself out of it because people had something inside of them that led them to make their decisions, even those who voted for third-party candidates. Somehow we believe that if we would have did something different, this wouldn't happen. It just would have been delayed. It would have just been delayed because the system itself, we act like the system itself is working. The system itself on that level is not working. So we can call that the way that we operate within the system first order change. So Kamala or Trump would have been first order change. And it is first order change because Trump ain't bringing no revolution about. I don't think he's going to bring revolution about either way. For those who believe in him, those white poor people that believe in him in Pennsylvania, they're just maintaining their predicament. And then we go and vote other ways that maintain our predicament. I'm not saying that it's not understandable, but the fact that we believe that somehow we can operate within a system and it's going to really bring about real change. And we don't even examine or interrogate the system to see if the very things that we think we had or have really were happening. Even just to be honest, give you an example. When you really look at the research on DEI, I'm not saying DEI is not a good thing in theory, but that's all it is in theory. Because the research supports that that there was less jobs given to black people at the lower levels, quote unquote, with DEI initiatives. So a few people got certain types of positionality inside of corporations, but that didn't trickle down. See, this is called this trickle down approach that we believe in, that we know that is not real. Because ain't nobody trickling nothing down. People trying to hold on to their trickles. Because that's all they got is trickles in the first place. Because someone ordained or allowed certain people that look like us to get a certain thing without any power, without any real change, but first order change, it just maintains the status quo. And that happens even inside of our own organizations. We don't like when the circles are really, lots of times we struggle with sacred circles or sacred spaces. We like safe spaces because they feel good. They allow us to intellectually and emotionally vomit without any repercussions or accountability. What am I saying here? Give it a mic.
First level safe space.
A safe space to me is a safe space. To me, is what people, I always hear white liberal, especially women, say, you know, let's get a safe space, and then we follow behind it because we get the training. Oh, a safe space. I'm not saying that safe spaces shouldn't be safe, and there's not a need for safe spaces, but the reality is that's not enough. So I put in my post yesterday that safe spaces are necessary, but they're not sufficient. So safe spaces allow you, me, and anybody to come in these type of spaces and talk about our traumas, talk about how we feel, talk about how we think, and no one ever tries to confront maybe the issue that's keeping you in that place in the first place, or keeping us in that place in the first place. You got something?
You cannot revolt.
And it sounds good. It sounds good. It sounds good. And because it's like, let's come in, let's have a safe space and let Mama Faluke just express herself. And that's cool. But and we should have space like that. But at some point, there has to be a goal in mind to say, well, if she feel like, I'm pardon for using you, Mama, if she feels like expressing herself and that will help open her up, what happens the day when I confront the pieces that are keeping him or her in that space? Even in these circles that we have, in these community organizations, we have like those who confront, we appreciate them in theory, but in reality, they cause us discomfort. It's kind of like the principal who says, because you were doing this, you got to get suspended. Now, I'm not sure if that system works, but I'm saying is it's very uncomfortable if someone has to bring about a change that is going to ultimately improve the situation. We don't really want that. I argue that we need to fight against that within our own selves. We like to feel good. That's first order change. First order change. Surface level adjustment. Behavior without belief shift. It's kind of like, again, asking white people to give us something But the belief ain't changed. So think about that. The belief is the same. So what do you think is going to happen? It's going to take a lot. I did another video. It's going to take a lot to have people see something differently. Because you've been taught a certain way your entire life about a group of people called black people. And then when you wake up and you're 27 and you went to school and you learned something that you were lied to, you're going to try your best. But in reality, there's still inside of you, you see these people as inferior, even if you didn't know it in the first place. It is difficult to bring about that level of change without continuous work and confrontation. And I'm not saying on no surface level. Look, understand that I'm saying I understand human beings have been conditioned, they've been trained, in that everybody's not the same. But in reality, the world has been conditioned, including you, that you are no good. And you struggle with that. We struggle with that. We struggle with seeing us as fully human. I'm talking about us. So how do you imagine somebody who doesn't know you and your beauty would do more work than you would do for yourself? Because it takes a lot. You have to confront a lot. We believe the things that's being said, even if we get this information. Because something happened, the first thing we say, even those of us who call ourselves African-centered, righteous, and all that, we start using NIGGE words and all that. Oh, so one person late, now you're going to cast that on the whole group of people. So first level change, let's bring it down to groups, to the group level. Us. Let's give an example of like an organization like TNAT. We have been so conditioned to like that is loud. Good, Mom. We have been so conditioned to like that is loud, that loudness clogs our ability to reason. We don't even see how these loud things are being used against us, even us, to keep us in predicaments of not moving forward. It's kind of like when you think about when you're a child, you're growing up, your friends are saying one thing, your mother and father are saying another thing. Your mother and father, in this scenario, are correct, but because you want to do what your friends are doing, you can't even see why your mother and father would make that decision. So you follow your friends. Then you look back 20 years later, you look back and say, damn, if I would only follow what my mother and father said. Because the peer pressure and the amount of discipline it takes to go the straight path, or a path that is sacred, it requires a lot of discipline and work. To do what your friends do, you have to now say it's easier for the most part, but you're not even looking at the benefits of what your mother and father are trying to instill in you. You're looking at the today, the joyous today, and not the Jubilee tomorrow. Y'all can grab the mics. I mean, Y'all marinating? So second order change. Go ahead, Bob.
Children function according to their level of understanding. That's why they go for their friends.
Well, I'm going to say that people, we operate at the level of our understanding. And the one of the major issues in our communities is this: that somehow we can't identify those who are more likely those parent type of leader type of personalities. Past charisma, past he talks good, or past she dances good, or past she sings good, or past he knows how to put his words together. I'm not worried about what he does in his life. I'm only worried about what he says, because he's speaking, he's saying something that touches me, and more than likely he's touching something in you that he know is traumatized or stuck. It makes you feel good. I'm saying we should analyze everything in everybody, especially when it feels good. Because I think even the fact that we jump on things so quickly without really doing research, and I don't want to throw in things out there, but there's some things we've been so hurt. We've been so hurt that we just want anything to make us feel good. And I always say that it's like Halle Berry. She was hurting so much. What was it, Monsters Ball or something like that? I think the man was the one who ended up offering her husband or something in the prison. I can't remember the story. But all she could say is, make me feel good. And I say, and that is the mentality that we have. That is the physiological, we're prone to wanting to feel good, and we will get played continuously if we seek to feel good. It's okay. Balance is necessary. But as I told one of my clients, I said, well, see, even that is taken out of proportion or out of context. Because I think I may have shared this with y'all, like, I drink alcohol. Not me. I don't drink alcohol. If you do, I'm just saying I don't. Just as an example. And if I drink 7 days a week, all day long, and somebody come and tell me, just be balanced with it. And then I say, well, okay. Balance is I drink 3.5 days now, but I still drink all day long. Now, that's better, perhaps, than where it was before, but that is not an end goal. Go ahead, Bob, Jamal. Bring the challenge. I love them. I see it in your face. Bring the fire. Look, don't hold back. Bring it, because I'm ready. And it's hot in here. It's like Nelly said.
Yes, sir, Bob. I have when you say analyze everything, I understand that. But if you're already coming from a place of non-understanding or lack of understanding or misunderstanding, how is one to correctly analyze?
You learn to analyze.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
You got to know that we ain't analyzing. Most of us don't know how to do research. Most of us say, I did some research. And I went to Google and just affirmed exactly what I wanted to hear. And like, even this Eastern and Western thing, brother and Wally Kevin, Reverend Patrick B said something earlier that it kind of jumped in my mind. We are escapists. And I'm going, and I think there's utility in Eastern approaches. A lot of us are calling ourselves African-centered, but we're really oriented Oriental. There's nothing wrong with that. But what am I saying? I'm saying South Asian or East Asian or even Asia in its entire Buddhism and Confucianism and all these higher things, they have some utility. But many times we use them as forms of escape. Non-attachment. I'm sorry. Attachment and non-attachment has its, see, to me, people speak and what they say doesn't add up all the time. And what I mean is that they'll say things like all things are good, and then they'll tell you some, and then they'll give you a very black and white statement like, well, you're attached. What was wrong with that? That's what I want to say. See, from an African-centered perspective, is a both and, Brother Abu. The spirit and the physical, and how it's inseparable. But we struggle with seeing that there's really no true separation. But we truly try to look for what is spiritual versus knowing that it is. So we do a lot of things to escape. And these are doing nothing more than doing things to you chemically, giving you euphoric. Nothing wrong with that. I do it too. I meditate and breathe. Yes, you got to release some of it. But that's not enough. So even the idea, I wrestle with this idea that there's a pacifist approach to things. And first level changes, a lot of times it's very pacifistic. Go ahead.
Well, Baba, I've been saying religiously that most of us need to learn everything that we think we know. Then we have to learn how to learn. Then we have to learn what to learn.
And I think we should always have guides. When mama and daddy transitioned or elevated, when you became a grown-up, it doesn't mean that we still don't need community elders, guides. You know what I mean? And I'm also realizing, especially in this country, which makes it more confusing, even in other countries, even the continent, that a guide has nothing to do with your age all the time. I would suggest that we really examine what discipline is. I want to hear y'all talk, because we struggle with it. You know what's so funny? And then people who are very undisciplined think disciplined people don't have fun. Go have fun. What do you mean? I'm having fun. What are you talking about? Go drink something. Go smoke something. Go to the strip club. Go do something. I mean, this is literally what conscious folk, I've heard them say to other conscious people who are disciplined. So in front of the room, we do all this whole tapping. But when we get out of chair, it's okay to do what you do. But don't try to bring people who are more disciplined in and try to make them feel bad. That's the other thing. Is reverse gaslighting going on in these streets. You can say that you're undisciplined, but say you're disciplined. Now everybody looking at you bad. What makes you better? You can say you undisciplined, but I can't say I am. That's a problem. Only smart people in our community lots of times can be the people who passed on. What y'all think about that?
Sad but true.
Huh?
Sad but true.
That heat is making me drowsy. But what I think I heard you say, that oftentimes undisciplined people challenge disciplined people, and maybe in their minds they associate that with oppressiveness and not having liberties and freedoms to do what they want when they want, how much of it they want. So maybe they equate being disciplined with the oppressor. But that's still something that has to be dealt with because it can lead you down a rabbit hole.
It's true. First order change, and then you. He was so ready that he took my thought. So what happens is, so it feels oppressive. Discipline can feel oppressive when you don't want none, because you're addicted to whatever feels good, but you know the outcomes don't give you what you want. And then you look at people who are disciplined and say, how did you get that? You know, how did you do that? And then you want, like what I'm saying is, like, for example, when you build institution, you build organization, when you build a family, a strong family, then people want to come in and tell you, well, y'all need to lighten up. But look, we happy. Now, I'm not talking about me per se, but it's true. But I'm talking about in this example, these people are happy. They're not just looking like they're happy. Oh, you need to go out. Everybody's not the same. It's like everybody likes the thing, but they don't like what it takes to have the thing. Like, for example, oh, T-Net, it's nice. Y'all you think that just happened because people just do everything you do that somebody else is doing? Or you think people had to do some things? You know, you think somebody had to come in here today and set this up? Yeah, it don't just pop up like that. Somebody has to be disciplined. But then you want the people who are doing the things that we say we want, we struggle with order. We say we practice Mayat, but we want to be undisciplined. Mayat can feel like, what did you call it earlier? Oppressiveness. If you don't truly understand that freedom comes through discipline. Liberation comes through discipline. And if you are quote unquote Black or African centered, your individual desires are to be taken into account, but they cannot overrule the collective. They should never become before the collective. There's a need to identify what people need individually, but it also should be taken in mind the collective, what the collective needs are as well. Because if we only want to do what we want to do individually, all the other stuff we're talking about is just talk. Brother Kevin.
Yes, it's good. Yes, strength is in restraint, and yes, and anything that we want to achieve in life is going to require sacrifice as well. And I've noticed that many look for a platform, but without purpose. I want to try to deal with the ego because we all have it, and I'm not downplaying anybody God concept, but the God concept is an ego, and what it does was the God concept it pushes people away of accepting reality and accepting themselves.
I've been thinking about literally starting to have that conversation. Yeah, I've been really thinking about in future conversations, really speaking to the limitations of our what you call the way we conceptualize God. it works. It's okay until it's not working. Because what it can, my sister, because what it can do is thwart your own ability to see past something somebody told you. And then when somebody comes to you and says something that's different than what you've been indoctrinated with, then your brain locks up and you call it blasphemy. Even if somebody says something out of the world, this out of order, they can be out of order without being blasphemous. Because the reality is another thing I thought about when it comes to this Eastern stuff. It's beautiful. I use it. But the reality is it's never going to be a time, pardon you, in our minds, if we believe it or not, there's never going to be a time where we're not balancing what people call good or evil, or whatever. It's never going to be a time. I don't care how many people meditate, and not everybody's going to ever meditate. Not everybody's not going to get to that level that where you're saying that we're going to get this blissful world. That's not going to happen. That is idealistic and short-sighted. And then it keeps you in a passive position. And I'm not saying you should be an aggressor, but what I'm saying is you should not be just an easy target. Because we believe things that are not serving us. When our religious or spiritual ideals have us in a space, in a place where we can't think for ourselves and our community in a healthy way, just like this war that's going on. You think that it's okay for Trump to send over planes and do what he does. Now, who gives him the right, in America, the right to tell us who can have nuclear weapons? And we think it's that there's some God-given right that the white man has in America that can dictate who can do what. And I'm sorry, I'm not a person that gets caught on color, but I understand this is what we have to talk through. Because the reality is, we even look at people in the street. The same guy who sent missiles or planes over there to bomb people, all of them, Obama, whoever, the Congress, whoever has that power, can tell you that when your children are at warfare with another neighborhood, that they deserve to be locked up. Why not you?
America would be best advised to civilize and humanize itself and abandon its pretensions to police the world.
Ashe. They call it, Dr. Ball put me on with something called the woke imperium, where America thinks it can police. I'm talking about even us who call ourselves woke. We can go around and talk about what other countries cannot do because we woke. We can go to Africa and say they shouldn't treat people who see sexuality different a certain way. I mean, I get it. It's a good fight. But what gives you how much better are you? You going around talking about what other countries should do. And your country is a mess. And the reality is, when we really look at this Western way of living, and I'm not speaking hypothetically, I'm speaking in reality, I'm speaking in what research can show you. There's different, the mental health outcomes here is horrible. Look, I was like, I heard somebody say the other day, like, we're against collectivism. We're against let's one partner stand at home. Let's say it's the woman. Let's just say it. I know that's dangerous today, but let's just say it. But we're not against hiring somebody for a lower wage. We have to make more to pay them, or hiring them in general to raise our children, versus finding a way to we all can raise our children. There's something backwards about us in the collective raising our children than it is to hire somebody you don't know to raise your children. I'm not saying that we out of this. I'm just showing you that this is a backwards country and a backwards situation that we're in, and we bought into it, including me. Because we bought into it. But what I'm saying is, I ain't buying into that much, but I'm telling you, there's levels to it. Okay, I saw somebody.
I have a saying, some things are true, whether you want to believe it now or not. Ego versus love. Do we operate in ego? Well, it was designed, the system was designed for us to not know who we are, to liberate us to operate differently than what we are doing. So we have to start from the ground level first of identifying who we are with research, with, as you said, we don't research. We go to Google, but now it's Google. But before that was Google, what was it?
Nothing.
Exactly. So the problem is, if we don't know who we are, if we don't know where we come from, then how can we possibly change us as individually to be collective?
No, I'm following you. So, I just want to make sure the mic is picking up. I was looking at him to see if he could hear you.
Yeah. So I feel exactly where you are, but then I think that I searched. I've always had that searching spirit. Not everybody has that. So they'll go along with the fad, as you said. They'll go along with whatever someone else is doing because they don't have an identity. Once you find your identity, your eyes open that much more. And then as you continue to gain knowledge, your eyes open up more. So it's levels to this thing. But the basic is finding out who you are. And it's all around you. It's in everything. You just can't see it because your eyes can't see. But it tells you every day, everything around you tells you who you are. But when you haven't had that training, you've always thought of yourself as the oppressed. No, I'm not oppressed. I'm liberated. How can I be oppressed when the greater one is in me? So that's where it begins. It starts there. I need to know who I am. Then I can collectively link up with this sister, or I can collectively link up with this brother. Because if we all know who we are, then we can move mountains. But we gotta first start here. As the song "Man in the Mirror," we gotta look in the mirror and see. It starts here. Yeah. I can't link up with her if I don't even know who I am.
So I think it's a both and, right? And I think that to me, it's always a both and, right? And I think we do have to start inside. But the reality is, those who are creating the conditions are not on the inside. So we got to do this work and that work simultaneously. One, because the reality is, one thing you said is that we're in a society where we believe that if you don't research, there's something wrong with you, and that's why you're in the situation you are in. And that right there, we should never say anything like that. Well, you need to research. You need to read. No, everybody ain't reading, and reading wasn't a knack. Reading is something somebody created, and it wasn't a time before people was reading. That doesn't mean you treat people bad. Because we think, oh, you dumb. You need to watch out. You need to know all the laws in America before you make a mistake. And this ignorance is not a alibi, whatever they call it. What kind of country you in? You got to know everything. You got to read all the books. Like, nobody reads all the books. Nobody has all the information. And nobody should not have to be treated as a human being. You have to work the same way that somebody else works to be able to live. Everybody is not created the same, but we believe that. And it has people having serious mental health problems, especially men, and especially black men, walking around feeling like they have to be on their deathbed to go to work to feel like they're a man. That is the most ridiculous and ill thing, one of the most ill things ever. To believe that you're only as good as your job. To believe even, you didn't say this, I'm not saying you said it, I just want to make sure. To believe that you actually said the other, opposite. To believe that everybody has to know everything. There's something wrong with the system. Because everybody ain't gonna never know everything. Let's talk about that. Again, everybody's not going to meditate, and everybody's not going to read everything. And so everybody has to do that before we can create a just society. What I think we could do, and maybe this is impossible as well, is learn, at least from small gatherings like this, is to learn, look, we have to vet those that we put before us, because we got too many people before us that are intoxicated and drunk by the fruits of this society. I'm not even going to say the world. Go ahead, Bob.
Yes. We know, I don't want to say we, but I have come to learn to know that all systems comes out of a mentality. And you could tell the collective psychology of his or her mentality by what he or she produces. I often concluded in this wise how people look for meaning in life. You don't have to look for meaning in life, because the meaning is in your DNA. You carry, each and every one of us carry meaning. Yes. Also, in regards to how I forgot my train of thought. In that wise, you had said something. Oh yes, but this is not what I wanted to say. But I can go with this. Really, no one does not have no monopoly on intelligence. You know, no one has it. So we can't get be fooled by that. You know, and one of the challenges that many have, and based upon what they have come to learn to know, because the first sign of reading is not what you see on paper. The first sign of reading is observation. Yes. So in this wise, I often say this, that there's 4 things that we face every day: problem, questions, issues, and needs. That's what I concluded. Don't mean that it's so. And the problem is not the problem. There's a strong possibility that the attitude that we have about the problem could be the problem. That's what I've come to learn to know. And I realized that the problem is an identity crisis. You know, we don't know whom and what to identify with. And if you don't, you would think that you would accept anything that may come your way because it tickles your fancy. It makes you feel good, you know. And one of the challenges, and I'm deviating a little bit, one of the challenges that I see that we really have, Franz Fanon never said it better, is associated with cognitive dissonance. Because when someone challenges your core values and what you believe in, when they challenge that, you don't want to deal with that nor confront that. And the manner and way in which you do confront it, it will be in a very hostile manner. Yes, that's what I want to use. This is what I want to use. Yes, when we accept other people thinking, such as good and evil, as an absolute, that is somebody else's standards that they have set up. And it intellectually satisfies them. And I call that intellectual masturbation. Yes, it satisfies them because that's their standards. And then you go by that standards, and it starts off local, and then you spread that stuff. And then other people start to gravitate to that. And when other people start to gravitate to it, then it gives you in that validation. And that doesn't mean that it's correct or it's right, because it gives you validation. There's so much silly stuff going on around here that we can't move beyond what we think and what we know, what we think we know. And remember, ignorance is you ignoring something. You're neglecting something. And ignorance is the result of hostility, as if there's nothing else to be learned. But if you are satisfied, and if that's sufficient enough to you, well, don't keep saying you seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave.
So, to me, it's always, again, it's never, the problems aren't simple to me. There's never one-liners to say the problem is this, the problem. Now, I hear a few people saying this is the problem, that's the problem. It's never one problem. It's always both and. It's always many. Because if we can say that the problem is the person, but what is it's kind of like when we look at this first order and second order change, yeah, there's some things we have to do differently as participants, but we have to identify in the first place when I'm trying to kind of like identify is not the identity problem in the person, because I've heard that a few times today. Yeah, that identity problem came from something else. That's a problem. But something happened before that identity crisis. And there's something that maintains that identity problem. And we continuously participate in certain things, again, because we keep doing the same thing. And we keep looking at it the same way. So again, second order change requires you to change your belief. So there's no simple, there's no one-liners, there's no one verses, there's no one thing that's a problem. It's always many things, and you're not the only problem. It's internal and external. It's not a this or that. It's this and that. It's this, that, and. What am I saying here? I want to hear y'all.
I think this country creates an illusion that this is a mass participatory society, when in reality it's not. It's governed by the 1%, if you want to say that. And we fall into that mode by thinking that when we go and vote for this person, things are going to change.
Can we put the next one?
When we say we go and vote for Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, and things are going to change, and that's not the truth, because the corporate world runs their show, runs the Congress people's show, and they don't look out. We're supposed to be their constituents. They're supposed to look out for us, but they're looking out for the bucks. Bribery runs the government now. So I think you have to be aware of that it's not a mass participatory society we live in. It's controlled by power brokers. When we go vote for them, we're fortifying the system. See what I mean? Instead of disrupting it, we're fortifying it.
Yeah, and that you're making me think about it again. So when you look at it, of course, we would be more comfortable under perhaps them, one group of people, and less comfortable under this other group of people. And now, because we're in a state of what we call chaos, we feel like it's chaotic. We would rather return back to the state of ease versus taking it to that second order change. We would rather not disrupt things, because with disruption there comes uneasiness. But that is the only change that's going to bring about something. There's no way of going back, because the thing that you're going back to is the very reason why you have what you have. But we don't really see that, because now what we're saying is we're going to go and try to get back. Like, what did you do when you were there in the first place? You created this, a pathway for this. You can't take accountability off of nobody, because somebody came to my YouTube station saying, oh, what do you think now? I still think the same thing. you know, because we want easiness. But even in that easiness, we called ourselves oppressed. But now we're feeling like this is oppression, whatever that is. And yeah, second order change. We're gonna close this one out. I'm just gonna read some characteristics of second order change. Is structural transformation, identity shift, often disruptive but necessary, restores Ma'at. So again, let's say that again. Structural transformation. If it does not disrupt the system, we got to keep in mind that we have no wins. We have bandages and they're necessary, but they're not real wins. They're not sustainable wins. They're going to just go back to how they were. And we say that, and I'm saying that on the outside, externally, but we have to look at that in our families. We have to look at that in our organizations. We have to look at that everywhere. So again, structural transformation, the second order change, an identity shift, often disruptive but necessary, and restores Ma'at. So again, in closing, and y'all can say something and wrap it up, is that the belief system has to change. That's the main thing. If you still believe, if you don't challenge the way, if we don't challenge the way that we're looking at, I'm talking about even us who think we know, if we don't challenge those things that's keeping us comfortable, then we are operating in first order. And first order maintains the status quo. And again, I'm gonna challenge you just a little bit. Can I do that? I don't care. In first order change, we can change all the words, right? Like some people might say I'm oppressed. Some people might say I'm not oppressed. But at the end of the day, the situations don't change because we lighten the word. People still dealing with what they're dealing with. So what liberals do a lot of times is change words. Like like give me a word, unhoused. That doesn't change the condition of the homeless people because I now call them unhoused. They still are homeless people under a society that is oppressive. Now, we want to call them oppressed or not, that's different. But they're still in a society that is oppressive, whether or not you call them unhoused or homeless. Because at some point, the word homeless, this is first order change stuff. Oh, let's just change the word, not stigmatize them. No, keep it stigmatized. Maybe we get closer to the goal and not help people feel comfortable with words. Oh, the unhoused. That's what people do because they're uncomfortable with what they're maintaining. You know? Stop following our liberal white counterparts. In closing, anybody have anything to say?
You cannot revolt against the people whose values you share, Amos Wilson.
Ah, shit.
And we have to understand if we want to move from first level to second level, it's going to be painful and uncomfortable because these belief systems and traditions have been ingrained in us, not just us, but our parents and our grandparents. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you may have to stand alone because everybody is not going to get the message. Mm-hmm. But if you get it and you're willing to do the changing and to go through the persecution, go through the painfulness, go through the loneliness, it's worth it because at least you stood for some truth.
Did Los want to say something? Oh. Hey, Los, if you put your hand up if you want to say something. Okay.
Hello?
All right.
Can y'all hear me?
Something if we can hear you.
Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Can we hear you?
Can y'all hear me?
I don't know if I can hear him.
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Is it up the volume?
Hello, 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 hello.
Oh, you know what? I probably got to try to think of y'all can go by.
Hello, 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 hello.
Seems like it.
Hello. Can you hear me? Y'all hear me? Hello? Can y'all hear me? Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry I can't be there in the present, but in person. But like I was kind of wanted to say, like, just to kind of close out also, Brother Kevin brought up good points. I was listening to you guys. I was just trying to chime in. I want to say that, like, it's going to be harder. Just like Mama Felipe said, we're going to have to disconnect from this propaganda, sensationalized society that we live in. That's part of the deal. Like, we don't realize this society is sensationalized and propaganda. So all the stuff that you're trying to get out there and make sense with yourself, it's a system that's fighting against that. That has its own message, and it's like I said, we've been trained to follow that message. We've been trained to follow that thing. So it is going to take a disconnect, and it may be lonely. You know, you may feel like you're fighting for your, by yourself, but you just got to maintain that fight.
Ashe. And if we, in closing, we're gonna ask. I'm not gonna close yet. Thank you. We're gonna ask if somebody would give a prayer at the end for Brother Los as he goes. He will be here in present, but he's dealing with some things that he's battling. So, my sister.
I heard a saying that says, when you think you know and you don't know, that's ignorance.
Can you say that again? Put it up closer.
When you think you know and you don't know, then that's ignorance. But to know that you don't know, that's the key.
Yeah.
There's levels. You can't have the good without the bad. You can't have the light without the darkness. So there's the different sides that you said. There's one side for one thing, and there's another side. There's no right or wrong. Each side has to go through whatever they need to go through in order to get where they need to get to. It's not even about looking at a book. It's about going within your spirit. Again, knowing who you are and being okay with that. Not worrying about if I say that I am God. The religious would say that's blasphemy. But I know different, and I'm not changing it. So, and I'm not knocking them either, because they're at the level where they are. It is what it is. So,
yeah.
Dr. King said there's nothing more dangerous in this world than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity.
I think I'm gonna go back to my both and. I think that's one of the things. I think Brother Kevin got mad at me, but but I think there's always more than one. Like, even though Dr. K said that's a nice thing to say, and I agree with it, but I want us to realize there's always a variety of things. It's never simple. And the belief thing is because sometimes we look at things so simplistically, we really believe it. And I think what you were saying, to build off of that, literally, I say that and I say it in a different way. What I say is, like, in knowing that you'll never know everything, because it's not about, because you're not gonna know what you're ignorant about. Sometimes you think you know and you're ignorant about it. But you do, when you realize that you'll never know everything and you're always ignorant, even when you think you know, that does something a little different. But yeah.
Just like I said in the vibration, everybody is a star, that we're made of the same elements that the stars are made of: phosphorus, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. Well, the reality is this. I know we say things like that, right? I got something for everything, on. But the reality is the universe is made of these things. So sometimes we go to we mythicize these things, whereas no, this is what the universe is made of. Everything. I mean, it's already beautiful. I mean, the very floor that you stand on got some of those elements, and we said it's man-made, but no, man couldn't make nothing without it already been made from something greater. If not greater, but something, that we are part of.
It shows you our interconnectedness.
Absolutely. Those oils got some of that up in there too. Everything has something in it. We share a lot of percentage of even with most animals, including birds and reptiles. But so the thing is, we all are one. We all connected. We all have very similar makeup because I guess God didn't. If you want to use God or whatever you want to use, didn't say he or she or whatever is going to have a million and one ingredients. He got some ingredients, just make different things out of. You can make a pie, and the same ingredients you can make a pizza. You can make you can do something different. You know what I'm saying? So you can make some what do you call it? Preserves or something. You can you just take the ingredients and do something different with. Make some toast and some jam versus making the other thing. And brother, Bobo, you got something to close out? Okay, well, anyway, family, I thank y'all for y'all. Yeah. Anybody want to lead a prayer for our dear brother and mom and Danu as well as and all that type of thing, all our family. But
to the God power that exists within us all, we call upon you now for your healing virtue, your healing power, and your healing streams to flow greatly in the body and in the mind of Mama and Danu and Baba Carlos. Right now, we just lift them up to you. We thank you that your design is that we walk in divine health. And so we speak divine health over their spirit, soul, and body. We speak alignment right now to them. And we speak that if there's any existing viruses, bacterias, mildew, or mold in their person, that it would be eradicated now by the power of love. We thank you right now. We thank you for the healing in Mama Ndanu's bones and her joints and her ligaments. We speak to those joints and those ligaments right now, and we say, line up according to how you were designed. And we thank you, we thank you, we thank you, oh Most High. We thank you for your goodness. We thank you for what you've put in us, and we receive healing now. Ashe.
Ashe, ashe, ashe. And family, thank y'all again. Let this be a sacred space, because sacred spaces are safe, but they also challenge us to rise, and that no one is exempt from that, including me. I'm open for all the smoke. So thank you. Blessings. Y'all online. Peace and power. Thanks for tuning in. Brother Los, do your thing. We'll see you on the other side, on this planet. So on this planet, both and, But anyway, brother, thanks for tuning in. Thanks, family. Hotep.
Hotep.
All right, family. I'm not the Harambe guy, but I'm the Harambe guy today. So we're gonna pull our hands up. We can open it up like traditional, in the traditional sense. Put our hands up there with our fingers spread wide, because Harambe means let's pull together. And so we're gonna pull 7 times. And the last time we can do that black power fist that y'all want to do, and we're gonna let it ring. So 7 times on 3. 1, 2, 3. Harambe, 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 Harambe. Ashe, 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 oh.